Hello? Musa's voice was barely louder than a whisper. The noisy industrial yard around him suddenly felt silent, as though the entire world had stopped breathing. For a few seconds, the person on the other end of the phone didn't say anything. Then, a calm, confident voice finally spoke. "Am I speaking with the mechanic who just repaired Chief Adewale's SUV?" Musa glanced at the elderly businessman standing beside him. The man simply smiled. "Yes, sir. My name is David. I'm the operations director for one of the largest logistics companies in Lagos. Chief Adewale has been telling me about what you just did." Musa frowned. He looked at the businessman again. Only then did he realize the man standing beside him wasn't just another wealthy customer. He was Chief Adewale, one of the most respected businessmen in the country. Before Musa could process that thought, the voice continued. "We've been struggling with one of our specialized fleet vehicles for nearly 3 months. The best mechanics we've hired haven't solved the problem." Musa swallowed hard. "We would like you to take a look." His heart pounded. "Me? Yes, but I don't even have a workshop." "We're aware." "I don't have modern equipment." "We're aware." "I came to Lagos with almost nothing." "We're aware." There was a brief pause. Then the voice said something Musa would never forget. "We're not hiring your toolbox. We're hiring your mind." For the first time in months, Musa couldn't find any words. The call ended with an address, a luxury business district, a place Musa had never imagined he would ever enter. As he lowered the phone, the mechanics who had laughed at him only minutes earlier stared at him with expressions that had completely changed. No one was laughing anymore. One of them even stepped forward. "Brother, congratulations," the same man who had mocked him. Musa simply smiled. Not because he wanted revenge, but because he had learned long ago, success speaks much louder than arguments ever can. Chief Adewale gently placed a hand on Musa's shoulder. "Can you be there tomorrow morning?" Musa nodded. "I'll be there." "Good. I have a feeling this won't be the last time we meet." As the black SUV disappeared into Lagos traffic, Musa stood alone on the roadside holding 3 things: his old rusty toolbox, the business card, and a future he couldn't yet imagine. That night, for the first time since arriving in Lagos, he didn't sleep beneath an abandoned bus. Chief Adewale arranged a modest hotel room for him near the company headquarters. The room wasn't luxurious, but to Musa, the clean bed felt softer than anything he had slept on in years. He sat quietly on the edge of the mattress, looking at his toolbox. It was scratched, rusty, old, exactly the same toolbox people had laughed at. Yet somehow, it had just opened a door that expensive tools never could. He smiled, then slowly reached into his pocket. Inside was the photograph of his wife and children. He stared at it for a long time. "I promise, I'm bringing you here." The next morning, Musa awoke before sunrise. Old habits never leave hard-working people. He ironed his faded mechanic shirt as best as he could, cleaned every tool inside his toolbox, polished his worn sandals until they looked almost new. Then he walked toward the address. The company headquarters stood before him like something from another world. Glass walls reflected the morning sun. Luxury vehicles entered through automatic security gates. Uniformed security officers stood at attention. Employees wearing expensive suits hurried inside carrying laptops. Musa stopped walking. He suddenly became aware of his clothes, his toolbox, his sandals. For a moment, the old fear returned. What if I don't belong here? Just then, a security guard walked toward him. "Can I help you?" Musa nervously showed him the business card. The guard examined it, then immediately straightened his posture. "Please come with me, sir." Sir. Nobody had called him that in years. Employees walking through the lobby turned to look. Some whispered, others frowned. A poor mechanic carrying an old rusty toolbox inside one of the biggest companies in Lagos. It made no sense. A young receptionist politely smiled. "Chief Adewale is expecting you." She personally escorted him to the executive floor. As the elevator climbed higher, Musa watched the city through the glass walls, the same city that had rejected him for weeks. Now it was inviting him in. When the elevator doors opened, Chief Adewale was already waiting. "I'm glad you came." He led Musa through several large workshops behind the headquarters. Rows of expensive trucks lined the massive compound. Mechanics worked with modern diagnostic equipment worth more money than Musa had ever seen. Finally, they stopped in front of one enormous armored transport truck. Its engine had been partially dismantled. Several senior engineers stood nearby. One quietly whispered to another, "Is this the village mechanic?" Another nodded. "This should be interesting." Chief Adewale ignored them. He turned toward Musa. "This truck transports medical supplies across West Africa. It has been out of service for almost 4 months. We've spent millions trying to repair it. If it doesn't move soon, we'll lose an important international contract." Every engineer looked toward Musa. Some crossed their arms, others smiled sarcastically. The pressure was overwhelming. Chief Adewale asked one simple question: "Do you think you can fix it?" Musa looked at the enormous engine, walked slowly around the truck, placed one hand on the metal, closed his eyes, and listened. Exactly the same way his father had taught him years ago. The engineers exchanged confused looks. One quietly laughed, another shook his head. What is he listening for? Musa ignored them. After a few minutes, he opened his eyes, then quietly asked for a light bulb. One engineer rolled his eyes, another reluctantly handed it over. Musa crawled beneath the truck. Several minutes passed. No one spoke. Then his voice echoed from underneath. "I found it." The engineers looked at each other. Impossible. They had inspected every part of the vehicle dozens of times. Slowly, Musa crawled back out. His hands were covered in grease. His face carried complete confidence. He looked directly at Chief Adewale. "The engine isn't the real problem." Everyone froze, because those exact words sounded frighteningly familiar, and once again, the people who doubted him were about to witness something they never expected. But this time, the stakes were much higher. If Musa was wrong, he wouldn't simply lose a customer, he would lose the greatest opportunity of his entire life. And every eye in that workshop was waiting to see what he would do next.